Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. This is part 3 of Revell's Vasa. Scale is 1 to 150. In part 2 I started off with painting the main parts of the hull. So in part 3 I'm going to be carrying on with that but on the stern of the ship. So if you look at the picture on the box, on the far right at the bottom, this is the area that I'll be concentrating on this part of the video. So let's jump into this and see how well I get on. Started off with mixing some paint, and it's Revell Aquacolor 17 African Brown, and that's 80%. And the next colour is 89 Beige, and that's 20%. And this is the colour I'm going to be using for the deck, for the main parts of the deck, I should say. This colour gives off a really nice wooden effect on a deck, especially if the deck is well molded, so you can see the individual planks of wood, which you can on this one. And then it's Revell Aquacolor 382 Wood Brown, and this is for the slightly raised areas on the deck where the masts will go. And now it's onto the stern of the ship, and I'm painting the panels for this. Now, like the last time, there's so many colours involved in this. I'm just going to list them straight away now, because it's just easier than going through step by step, and it would take forever, and two, they're such tiny strokes that it's just better to list them all in one go. So what I've got here is Revell Aquacolor 15 Yellow, then moving on to Revell Aquacolor 50 Light Blue, then Revell Aquacolor 88 Ochre Brown. Next is Revell Aquacolor 331 Purple Red, Revell Aquacolor 360 Fern Green, then it's Revell Aquacolor 94 Gold, Revell Aquacolor 52 Blue Gloss, Revell Aquacolor 77 Dust Grey, Revell Aquacolor 04 Gloss White, and lastly Mr. Hobby H9 Matte Gold. And these are all the colours that I made up these panels. So there's quite a lot of colours here involved in these little panels, but it does make up to quite an impressive display once it's complete. There is 4 panels to paint in total for the stern of the ship, and each panel has its own little motif to paint on. They're all similar colours, but the actual figures and that are all slightly different, which tends to make the painting a little bit more difficult, trying to cut in the paint and that, because you get your eye in and your hand in to paint in one way, then you have to change it around because the figures have changed. And because they're so small, it's difficult to pick out the detail, even with a magnifying glass, to see exactly how these figures should be painted. Because as you zoom into them, the mould is not 100% crisp, especially on the faces, where the face meets the neck and the chest area. So it was best guess scenario as I was painting these. Once they were painted and dry, it was time to assemble. And the panels are in a series of sub-assemblies. So I'm just in the first assembly now, from the rudder section to the main panel. And once that's drying, I'm starting to place on the cannon bays. So each cannon has its own porthole, of course. It was a little bit tricky to fit because some of the cannons weren't exactly lined up with the holes, so I had to push them slightly to get them to fit, but it wasn't a major issue. They just didn't slot straight in. It was just a tiny little bend or a push to get them to go in. The location points for this cannon rod were really good as well, so you knew exactly where everything should go without any drama. There's 2 runs on each side, so I placed the bottom one in first before placing the top one in, and it went in exactly the same way. As you can see there, me just pushing in the barrel a little bit to get it to fit. I don't know whether that was my mistake or a design fault with the kit, but as I said, it wasn't a problem really. Next is the anchor line. Now I've got to tie a little knot on each end. This has got to be cut into two sections. Knot's a loose knot, so I'm just adding a little bit of cement here, and this just doesn't cement the rope as such, but it stiffens it up so it won't come undone. And then it's just a matter of doubling it up, making sure I've got equal length, and then just cutting it in half. And then each end gets passed through the little hole that it's designed for, making sure that the knotted end is actually inside the hull itself. So you can see it just coming through at the bottom there. Next is to place the two sets of cannons in. This is the little assembly part that I made for the stern of the ship. So the part where the rudder is and the panels where I've done all the paintwork before cementing it in onto the hull. This part is quite difficult to cement because the panels are going in different directions. It's very important to make sure you dry fit this first before attempting to cement it, so you know exactly where it's going to go. So that was a little bit tricky, but I did get it fitted in the end, as you can see there. Now, it was time to fit the next panel. Because of the nature of these panels, I knew there may be a problem when I put the hull together. So I haven't cemented it completely in place. I've only cemented it to the main hull. I haven't cemented each panel onto each other. This just gives me a little area to maneuver with when I'm putting it all together. But I'll explain more about that on the next video. Then you'll be able to see how I maneuvered the panels in position. So the last panel here just needs a little bit of paint, and I'm using Revell Aquacolor 382 Wood Brown. This is just the back paneling of the unit that's going to be showing on the actual deck itself. I just forgot to paint it. So all that's left to do is put this part in place, and this is where I'll end part 3. This took quite a while to paint all these little panels. It was around about 3 days in total, on and off, and there was a lot of drying time waiting for each section to dry. If you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for the rest of my builds? If you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date with not only this build, but all my future builds as well. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and don't forget to share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.